It's that Dio. No, that's somebody else. Like, everybody, welcome to the Sensational Stream. I am, of course, the longest reigning wrestling trivia challenge champion in the history of the universe. Mainly because there's only been 4, and the second shortest reign is like 2 months, and mine is 2 years. But I digress. Welcome, everybody, to the live stream. Thank you for joining me. I'll wait till a few more people are on here so I can make an announcement that pertains to a lot of people watching. So thank you for joining me in this. What is up out there? There we go. I saw some chats in here. Big Rocker Johnson, what's up? How you doing? Good to see you. Cherry Mark, should the winner of the Money in the Bank cash in on a live crowd when the pandemic is over? You know, they were still advertising Money in the Bank during WrestleMania, which is weird to me. I'm guessing they're probably going to do something at the Performance Center still. It seems a little weird, but I do think the Money in the Bank should hold off until the pandemic is over, or at least until they're able to cash in on somebody in front of a live crowd, because the Money in the Bank cash-in would lose a lot in front of a live crowd. As much as we've seen title changes in front of no crowd, it kind of would lose its luster a little bit, but there you go. Curtis Butler, hello, Fiends. Let me in. Darren G, what's going on? How's it going, Greg? Not too bad. Doing another live stream, obviously. I mean, you're watching me. And so WrestleMania was something, wasn't it? I mean, it was what it was. The sad thing is, broken up into 2 days like that, I would argue that it was better than the last couple. 35 had some highlights. 35 had Kofi winning. Like, that was cool. You had Cena return as the Thugonomic Cena. Not that you didn't see that this year. But 34... Did that really have anything to write home about? I'm trying to think offhand. Nothing really happened post 34. 33 only had the Hardys and AJ and Shane McMahon. I mean, 34, I guess, had the return of Daniel Bryan. But, and 32 was just really, really long. Adrian, spin the wheel. Is that a new concept, Greg? Not a new concept. I actually borrowed it from somebody else. But we've both given money to each other to spin the wheel. They typically drink alcohol, and I just do other random stuff. So there's that. Big Rocker Johnson. WrestleMania 37 is going to be stacked. 37, I really hope is going to be stacked, and I really hope I'm able to make it out there, because it seems like that's going to be like a no DQ. Everybody's going to meet up because it's in LA. And that seems to be like the central hub for not everybody, because only like a couple of the No DQ crew are out that way. But it seems like it's a centralized hub for all the No DQ stuff that used to happen. So I would like to make it out there. I've never made it that far on the country. I've only made it to like Chicago, and I've never gotten west past there. So going to California for the first time, especially for WrestleMania, would be something. Do you think 36 was the best WrestleMania after 31 in the past 5 years? Yeah, I would probably say that, yeah, it was the best Mania since 31. Not as good as 31, obviously, but as far as entertainment purposes, I think this one will be remembered a lot more. Maybe not all for the right reasons, but definitely more memorable than the last few WrestleManias. 31 is definitely the best one in the last 6, but 36 is probably number 2. Adrian's wondering how the cocooning is going for everyone. Well, my job is a work-from-home job anyway, so it's not much different than me, and I'm pretty much an introvert, so I'm kind of enjoying it. I'm getting to play more video games, getting to watch more wrestling content, and I don't have to talk to too many people, so there you go. Big Rocker Johnson. They should do parodies with modern movies like 21. That would be funny. I would love to see the parodies return uh, with WrestleMania going back out to Hollywood, especially with the logo and everything. They're kind of doing the Hollywood tie-in. So I would like to see that. Hopefully the main events are better than 21, but that's another story. Uh, Cherry Mark. SmackDown announced that they're still doing Money in the Bank qualifying matches starting next week. Is Sheamus your favorite? Sheamus doesn't need to win again, quite frankly. Sheamus already won in 2015. He cashed in, and it was just a transitional reign to get the title back to Roman. I don't see him winning Money in the Bank for a second time. I just don't see why that's possible, or why that even should happen, quite frankly. Um, so yeah, I feel like they're going to do the events at the Performance Center. I really can't wait till this pandemic is over because the live audience does add a lot. They really do, and even the crowds that are dead, like you can still feed off of that and tell how the shows are. Imagine if the Hell in a Cell debacle took place in front of no fans. I mean, you wouldn't have had the booing and stuff, and you probably wouldn't have had the title on the Fiend, but it is what it is. Do you expect, or hold on, I skipped a couple. Andrade should win. Is he back from injury? Andrade possibly could win, but he's already United States champion. Not that stopped The Miz 10 years ago, but hey. Curtis Butler, what are your thoughts on the release of the Revival? I mean, they've been asking for it for pretty much a year, and they were given like a couple pity tag team title reigns in there, and good for them. I hope they thrive wherever they go, whether that be AEW, NWA, or just the indies. I mean, people do make a lot of money on the independent circuit, especially people fresh off of a WWE run. Was Damian Sandow a failed excitement? Cena buried him after winning the briefcase. Yeah, the fact that Sandow's was really the first person to straight up lose. I know Cena lost by disqualification, but Sandow like straight up cashed in and straight up lost. So that was disappointing, and he never really recovered until the Mizdow stuff. And then they just buried that as quickly as they started it. So he's in the NWA now, so he's doing what he's doing. Do you expect more of these Boneyard matches so The Undertaker can extend his career? I don't think he'll exclusively do them. Like, the only time you see The Undertaker is in these cinematic matches. Seems a little ridiculous. Granted, he doesn't have to take many bumps, but why would you want that to be all he does? Wouldn't you want to see him in the ring hitting tombstones on people? I still think a fitting end for him would be 30 years after his debut to end his career at Survivor Series and go in the Hall of Fame the following year. That's how it should go. Not saying it will, because a lot of people say he should have retired after 20-0. And he's still going. Shamey's staring down Corey Graves. Could be a sign Corey Graves could be trying to get cleared. You know, I would be fine with that. I was trying to think. It would be cool to see Graves back in the ring. And yes, I'm biased because of our brief little history, but I would like to see him back in the ring. I like him on commentary. A lot of people don't. To each their own. Again, like I said, I'm biased. But I think it would be cool for him to get in the ring for like a storyline or something. And seeing Edge come back is bringing a lot of hope to people. Because a lot of people thought Edge was done completely, myself included. And then the speculation started when he speared Elias at SummerSlam that is he actually cleared to return, because he hasn't had any physical contact with anybody in like 8 years. And then, of course, he came back at the Rumble and had his match with Randy Orton at WrestleMania. And sky's the limit, you know? I doubt Graves would be the heel though. He's been the heel, but if Sheamus is egging him on, then perhaps Graves could come back in some capacity. Probably as a babyface, as weird as that sounds, because he's been the heel announcer since he's come up. Give me your heel Mount Rushmore, babyface Mount Rushmore, tag team Mount Rushmore, women Mount Rushmore, and wrestling years Mount Rushmore. Holy crap. Um, heel Mount Rushmore. The Nature Boy Ric Flair. Vince McMahon. TNA Jeff Jarrett. Um, Tommaso Ciampa. Babyface Mount Rushmore. John Cena. Hulk Hogan. Bret the Hitman Hart. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Because Steamboat was a babyface pretty much his entire career. Tag team Mount Rushmore. The Dudley Boys. The Legion of Doom. The New Day. And the Hardy Boys. I know Edge and Christian being left out of that is kind of hard for people to believe, but even though Edge and Christian were 7-time tag champs, I believe the Hardys and the Dudleys have won more than they have. So there you go. Women Mount Rushmore. Trish Stratus. Sensational Sherry. Lita. Sasha Banks. And people will argue with me about that too. As far as I'm concerned, better in-ring performer than Charlotte. Fight me. Wrestling years Mount Rushmore. Okay. 1998. 2003. 2011. 1992. So there you go. Yeah, John P. They were finally released as far as a revival goes. Do you think Mania 37 should be 2 days? And if so, what matches do you think should main event? I like the idea of WrestleMania being a 2-day show. What I think they should do, and I said this last week on the live stream, I believe I said it the week before, if they're going to do that, include the NXT matches that you would have had at TakeOver on the WrestleMania card. Because if you're going to have NXT championships defended at WrestleMania, you should have NXT matches in general at WrestleMania. Now, granted, some of those spots will be taken up by Battle Royals because there weren't any this year. So you still want to have like 2 or 3 NXT exclusive matches as part of that WrestleMania weekend. I fully support that idea. As long as if you buy a ticket to WrestleMania, you don't have to buy 2 tickets. Like your tickets are good for both days. That's the only way I'm okay with them doing this. Because the concept can work. But if you screw people, be like, oh, this ticket's only for day 1. It's like, well, if you don't get to see your favorite match, then the ticket's kind of useless. So WrestleMania tickets should be good for both days. Should they double the price? Should they raise the price not quite double? Perhaps. But if it's for a 2-day event, then they'll probably do that. But as far as I'm concerned, your ticket should be good for both days. Just an opinion. As far as main event matches, I can't even think that far as booking goes because so much could change between now and next year's WrestleMania. So much. Cherry Mark, Kevin Federline more over than Ricochet. Oh, poor Ricochet. Hey, him and freaking Cedric Alexander as a tag team, that could be something. Who are the Raw Tag Team Champions right now? Street Profits? Okay, so they won't immediately be challenging for the tag team titles, but they could be something. They could be a decent tag team. I mean, it could be like an Air Boom type situation with Kofi and Evan Bourne. What's up, Ken? How you doing? Who do you think will get a big push after WrestleMania, excluding current champions? Well, Bianca Belair seems like she's getting a good push. I know the Street Profits are the tag champs, but Bianca possibly. They may be putting Nia Jax into a storyline with Becky, just feeding off of the beginning of their feud before Survivor Series in 2018. The fact that they have not had a one-on-one match yet is kind of crazy to me. They had all that stuff. They built it up. They built it up in the Rumble a little bit where Becky eliminated Nia. But I don't think they've ever had a one-on-one match. A pay-per-view with all that past history for a one-on-one match for the Raw Women's Championship is money for the division. So probably Nia. What's next for AJ Styles? Well, he'll probably take a little bit of time off just to sell the Boneyard match, and then he'll be right back on TV doing what he does. I don't know how long he'll be off TV. Might be a month, might be another couple weeks, might be longer than that. Might not be till like SummerSlam or something. But will they do anything with the OC? If they don't, then they'll probably just keep the three of them off TV for a while. I don't know. John P., are you enjoying the empty arena shows? Yes and no. It's nice that they're putting the effort in to their matches, but it is really hard to get along without fans cheering and stuff. Like post WrestleMania crowds are a sight and something to hear, to behold. So not having that energy at WrestleMania and the night after, I mean, it's missed. It's obviously missed. So I appreciate what they're doing, and I've said this before. I appreciate what they're doing as far as the empty arena shows go. But it's going to come a time where it's like, okay, we need the fans back. And I'm sure as soon as this everybody stay home thing is lifted, then it'll be game on and we'll see fans and it will be nice. People will tune into wrestling and be like, oh my goodness, thank goodness the fans are back. Oh, we get to listen to the crowd. We get to listen to the chants. We get to hear these reactions to these big moments. I can't wait for it personally, but unfortunately, we all have to wait for it. Samoa Joe should be a full-time announcer. He is great and makes it feel real. Samoa Joe's always been good as a talker. So if he decided to ever step away from the ring and become an announcer, I would support that. Huge mark for Rick Rude. Rick Rude was a good heel. You have to remember, this is spanning across all of wrestling as far as the Mount Rushmores. And I'm sure I missed some blatantly obvious ones. You notice I didn't have Shawn on any of those, which is ridiculous because Shawn's my favorite of all time. I didn't have Chris Jericho on any of those lists, which is also ridiculous because he's one of the greatest of all time. So, I mean, Chris Jericho could be up there for the heel Mount Rushmore. He really could. But it's tough to narrow it down that much. Tag team Mount Rushmore would be Road Warriors, the Steiners, the Dudleys, Edge and Christian and Hart. Well, there's only 4 on Mount Rushmore, so that's what that is. Adam Cole's NXT title match was at Mania. I'd like to see an NXT World Title match. Well, that was supposed to be on Takeover. The NXT Championship was supposed to be a Takeover match, and I don't think they've still done Cole versus Dream. So we should be getting that match pretty soon, unless they're saving it for whatever the next NXT Takeover is. What's up, Colin? How you doing? Cherry Mark, was Edge versus Orton and Bear last man standing match, then Ciampa Gargano last man standing? No. I like Edge, I like Orton. And maybe the crowd has something to do with it. And this is something else I'll bring up. I've brought this up to a couple people. Last man standing matches need an audience. Because you don't get the drama of a last man standing match with no audience, because it's very obvious that there are rest spots. All last man standing matches, and I will say this until the day I die, all last man standing matches are pretty much the same. It just depends where the drama is. And without an audience, sorry, Edge and Orton, you didn't have as much drama in your stuff, and it just looked like a bunch of rest spots. Not your fault. It was what you were dealt. It was the hand you were dealt. But last man standing matches need an audience. Period. End. So Ciampa Gargano was better. You see a possible John Cena heel turn after that NWO segment in the Firefly Funhouse match. I know it's probably not going to happen, but still is their hope. I would like to see, it doesn't necessarily have to be an NWO type thing, but if Cena were to ever come back for a little run like The Rock did in 2003 and be heel for a little bit, that would be cool. And then you notice The Rock came back like later that year and he was babyface again, so it was just like a little stint, but it was very memorable. So if he does, that'd be cool. It won't be anything long term. I think Cena in-ring career is pretty much done long term. Cool Brothers Radio Podcast. If you were in the charge of Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and AEW, and all the superstars were put in a pot, who would you put first on Raw, SmackDown, NXT, AEW as the face of each brand? I think who you got right now is fine. Raw has Drew McIntyre, SmackDown has Strowman, NXT has Cole, AEW has Moxley. I mean, Jericho will probably be a better face of the brand, but Moxley's the champ right now, so I don't think I'd change anything. Chris Butler, ask a question. I'm a little bit behind because I had to think of the Mount Rushmore, so I'm a couple minutes behind on the chat. What's up, Mark? How you doing? Jermaine Presley, do you feel that Sasha will win the Money in the Bank briefcase? I don't know if she will win the Money in the Bank briefcase. It would be nice. And then Bayley could like try and convince her a la Triple H to Batista in 2005, hey, you should go challenge for the Raw Women's Championship because she's the SmackDown Women's Champion. And then Sasha eventually cashes in on Bayley. I can see that happening. But I would rather their first clash as champion against challenger be a straight up one-on-one match instead of a Money in the Bank cash-in, personally. So I would give it to somebody on Raw who can cash it in on Becky because I feel like they would benefit from it more. Give Sasha and Bayley their straight up one-on-one match, have somebody on Raw win, or somebody on SmackDown and go over to Raw and cash it in on Becky. Could Strowman versus Fiend be a placeholder till Roman comes back to have Strowman retain against Bray so Roman versus Braun at SummerSlam. Um, quite honestly, The Fiend might beat Strowman just for the sheer fact of they're just trying to undo all the Goldberg stuff that happened. Strowman really, out of everybody, benefited the most from this Goldberg situation and from the coronavirus situation. Strowman is a freaking heavyweight champ, and he was just thrust into that position. So good on him. But fact of the matter is, has that ship sailed? I don't know. I feel like The Fiend will probably take the title from Strowman to set up Roman versus The Fiend at SummerSlam, and then Roman, of course, winning the Universal Championship. Would you rather see Styles versus Shawn or Rock versus Roman? Styles versus Shawn. It will be a Shawn Michaels match all day long that I will choose, and especially against AJ. Adrian says Bruiser Brody would have been buried in WWE by Hogan. Would he have been buried in WWE by Hogan? Probably. Hogan wasn't letting anybody take his spot. John P. They need to push someone else other than Sasha Banks. Why? Why would they push somebody other than Sasha Banks? Who do you have that you would push other than the boss? Realistically. The history is there with Sasha Bailey. They had the greatest women's match in wrestling history. Why would you want to put anybody else in Sasha's position against Bailey? Why? That bewilders me to no end. Let's see. WWE setting up the Fiend versus Strowman match where neither of them can afford to lose, or they would lose steam. How would you book it? The thing is, WWE likes to book themselves into corners. See Hell in a Cell 2019. You have the Fiend win one match and then challenge for the Universal Championship. So you either have the Fiend lose and ruin him, or you have him win because that's really the only way out of the situation, or you do what WWE does and have a no contest or a match stoppage in Hell in a Cell. The more you book yourself into corners with characters, the more it's going to bite you in the ass. At least there is history there between Strowman and Wyatt, because Strowman was a part of the Wyatt family for almost a year. Not quite a full year, but almost a year. Would he have worked out in WWE? Again, referring to Bruiser Brody. Possibly. Depends on when he would have been there and how he would have been used. It's really a... Would he have been like a mid-carder? Would Vince have given him some ridiculous gimmick? We don't know. Anthony Manzano, do you know if Jeff already did his live stream yesterday, or does he usually do it on the weekends? Jeff did a live stream of Talk Wrestling yesterday evening around 7 Eastern. So he did his on his channel. And actually, since it's brought up, and now we get to talk about it, and now we have a few more people in here, I do want to make an announcement before I get back into the chat. This coming Friday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern, on my channel, which you can see the new graphics I put up for this week, youtube.com/Greg Cherry Brand, all one word, you will see the official return of the No DQ Wrestling Trivia Challenge. We have a match in the can, just needs to be edited, and it will be uploaded this Friday. It will be a live watch along if you want to check it out. Feel free. And yeah, that's the new Homo Wrestling Trivia Challenge. So check it out. It will be there. Go subscribe to that channel. You can leave your comments and stuff there. I'll be uploading more stuff that's not all wrestling related, but I'm going to have various things on that channel. So go subscribe, youtube.com/Greg Cherry Brand for the future home of Wrestling Trivia Challenge this Friday. So there you go. All right. Curtis, where was your question? What do you think of Ronda's attitude towards the fans? Slight work or on the shoot? Maybe a little bit of both. Because let's face it, wrestling fans can be dicks. They can be. They really can be. Especially the people online who are, I don't want to say Monday morning quarterbacks because that's a football term, but Monday morning bookers, I guess. That they like to sit back and be like, oh, this is how I would book it. This is how I would book it. This person can't work, blah, 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 blah. And chances are they've never stepped foot in a ring before. So unless you have actually stepped foot in a wrestling ring before, taken a bump, been a part of a match, anything like that, you really can't have an opinion on work rate. You straight up can't. You can judge from what you see, but you don't know the work that goes into it. So you cannot have an informed opinion regardless of how big of a fan you are. I've taken the bumps. I've been in matches. I can say it. But I can also say that Ronda's right. For somebody who was not a pro wrestler, somebody who picked up the business like that, Ronda was better than some of the people who were doing it full time. Truth hurts. Not just because she was a name, but because she put the work in. I like Ronda Rousey. I want to see her back at some point. But she is absolutely right that some of the fans are, I don't know the exact term that she used. She said they're ungrateful. She's right. Truth hurts. Let's see. Colin Andrew, what was your favorite match from night 1 and night 2 from WrestleMania 36? Night 1 would probably be either the Boneyard match or the ladder match. Night 2, the Women's Championship match. The SmackDown Women's Championship match, not the NXT one. NXT one was kind of over quick. SmackDown Women's one told a story. I like that one better. Cherry Mark, what's your favorite Chris Daniels match? Favorite Shane McMahon match? You're definitely a fan of mine. You're definitely a fan of mine because you know Shane and Daniels are two of my favorites. Christopher Daniels match, the Unbreakable match from 2005. AJ, Daniels, and Joe. The triple threat. Probably the best triple threat match that's ever been done. Shane McMahon. My favorite Shane McMahon match is actually my favorite match of all time. Him and Kurt Angle at the 2001 King of the Ring. I know it's ridiculous to say that my favorite wrestling match of all time involves Shane McMahon, but it does. Deal with it. Yes, it will be exclusively to my channel, Ken. Yeah, Wrestling Trivia Challenge will be exclusively now on my channel. So I will post a link. I'll post it on my Facebook, which of course you can find right here. Facebook.com/Greg Cherry Brand. Find it there. You can find it on the YouTube channel if you go subscribe over there. But yeah, Wrestling Trivia Challenge will be exclusively on my channel from now on. Jeff is hosting, and I'm uploading the shows and doing all the editing stuff. So obviously, I'm defending the championship too. So let's see how that goes after my first match. But yes, Wrestling Trivia Challenge is back officially. We know we teased it for a while. But we actually filmed a match, so we can say it's back now. Jermaine Presley, who would you give the Money in the Bank briefcase to that would be best to cash in on Becky? Honestly, if they don't do the straight-up Nia Jax match, I would give it to Nia and have Nia cash in on Becky, get that heel heat, and make Becky chase her. And Nia be like, I was always better than you, Becky. I took you out of action, and now I took your women's championship. So I would give it to Nia Jax, crazy as it may be. There's such a story there. Take advantage of it. Nick Levin, hey Greg, what are your thoughts on WWE going back to live TV format? Is this part of their TV deal with their respective networks? I'm not sure if it's part of their deal, if they have to put on live stuff. If it is, that's probably their own fault. But at the same time, nobody expected a pandemic to shut down television production pretty much everywhere. I mean, everybody's doing shows from their own homes, which technology is wonderful for that. But at the same time, it's not the same feeling. Somebody doing a show on a webcam, look who's talking, and somebody doing a show in an arena packed with people. Not the same thing. Who do you think suffered the most after WrestleMania 36? Rhea Ripley. Realistically, her first big title defense at WrestleMania, and she loses. And she lost convincingly, too. Like, that did not help Ripley at all. It made it feel like... And you know what? Shayna Baszler, too. Really, the NXT brand as a whole suffered from that because they look super weak against the main roster. Because Shayna lost in a fluke to Becky, and Charlotte made Rhea tap out after Rhea ended Baszler's 400-plus day reign as champion. So neither one of them looked good coming out of it. I've said it, I don't remember who I told. I think it was on Jeff, one of Jeff's shows. I said, Baszler just looks stupid because she lost to that before. So why would she get pinned by it again? It made Baszler look like an idiot. And it made Ripley look weak. Personal opinion. As far as the men's matches, nobody really looked weak coming out of those. Favorite undercard match in Mania that gets lost in time? Well, Shawn and Jericho from Mania 19 was an undercard match. Definitely a good one, but a lot of people talk about that one. Let's see. Chris Jericho and Christian at WrestleMania 20 was actually very good. Not a lot of people talk about that one, but that one was really good. Nobody really talks about, like, was Hogan McMahon considered a main event type match? Because it was on later in the show, but it was still technically undercard. Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon at WrestleMania 22 was a damn good one. That was just a straight up fight, and it was great. Probably Vince's best WrestleMania match. Of course, you had Shawn Michaels, so obviously. I don't know. What do you guys think? Can I ask you your favorite Roman Reigns match? A lot of people don't like his work, but the match with AJ was some good stuff, and the match with Rollins at Money in the Bank. Roman worked best, I think, with Braun Strowman. As crazy as it sounds, the two of them beating the crap out of each other was just enjoyable. Yeah, Roman had good matches with AJ. His match with Rollins at Money in the Bank was great, too. His match with Kevin Owens at the 2017 Royal Rumble was pretty entertaining also. I think that was the first time Owens actually brought out the stunner. Yeah, Anthony, what was your comment from before? Where'd you go? Yeah, I mentioned that about Jeff doing his live streams. I don't think he does one on the weekends. Go follow his channel. He posts stuff all the time. So if he's doing another live stream, I don't know about it, but he did one last night. Curtis Butler, is there any silver linings with these crowdless shows? I don't really know because I thought for a while that maybe after WrestleMania they'd take a break and have some chance to rest. But, I mean, there aren't any house shows, so they really only have to work one day a week. If they're going live again, they only have to work 1 day a week. So they still get the rest on their bodies because they're not doing house show stuff. So that's a plus. I mean, they won't risk injury as easily, like dealing with house show stuff. But I don't know, that has to be considered a plus. A lot less wear and tear on the body. Marshall Leonard. Nobody talks about James Storm as the world champion. I think it's underrated. What do you think of James Storm's TNA title run, and same with Bobby Roode's and Bully Ray's world title run at TNA? The thing with James Storm is he was kind of hot-shotted into the position. Don't get me wrong, I love James Storm. James Storm was actually one of my favorites in TNA. I love the character of the cowboy. And I always thought he was a tremendous worker. But James Storm's title reign was transitional. It only lasted like a couple weeks. And then he lost it to Rude, so Rude could turn heel and have his title reign, which was absolutely solid until he lost to Aries. So I like the idea of James Storm as world champion. It just did not last long. And Bully Ray had solid world title reigns. I mean, he got beat by like Chris Sabin and AJ, but still, solid reigns. Because he was a super big heel. You want to talk about like heel Mount Rushmore? Bully Ray is a damn good heel. Very underrated as a heel, but he is damn good at what he does. Anthony Manziano, Greg, I'm a fan of The Undertaker. Do you think anybody on the current roster can pull off his American Badass gimmick and Big Evil gimmick, and can those gimmicks work as a leader of a faction? They tried that with DOA in '98, and it was terrible. Because it was led by Crush, and then you had Chains, 8-Ball, and Skull, Harris Brothers, whatever you want to call them. So, yeah, and Chuck Palumbo, like I saw mentioned in the comments, Chuck Palumbo tried the gimmick too, and it didn't work. If it's not The Undertaker on a motorcycle, it's not going to work in WWE. Truth be told. Because everybody's going to associate the badass motorcycle rider gimmick with The Undertaker. Could they try it somewhere else? Maybe. Would it get over? Maybe. But it's not going to work in WWE with anybody else. Isn't Adam Page a James Storm ripoff? Damn. Maybe a little bit. I'm really not sure what the difference is between Hangman Page and James Storm. I know they're two different people, obviously, but as far as gimmicks, is it because Hangman Page can say cowboy shit on air? It's like, but the drinking thing is pretty much the same. So, realistically, James Storm did it better, in my opinion. What is your favorite cinematic match of all time across all brands? Well, they haven't really done it a whole lot. Like, if we're going to talk cinematic match, I enjoyed the Final Deletion, the original one, with Matt and Jeff Hardy. That was entertaining. And then they've done several of the Deletion matches. I think they're doing one on AEW this coming week, aren't they? With Matt Hardy and Jericho. That one should be entertaining. I want to check that one out. But probably the Final Deletion, the very first one. Because it really wasn't done before that. 42nd Street Matthew, who would be on your wrestling Mount Rushmore for each of the last 3 decades? My gosh. Is that covering all 3 decades in one? I'm going to have to think about that. I want to answer Adrian's question first. Why didn't Chronic work out in WWE? One match with the Brothers of Destruction and were buried. Because that match with the Brothers of Destruction were terrible. Brian Adams and Brian Clark could have been a force, but they just had an awful match with Undertaker and Kane. So I see why WWE didn't want anything to do with them. They were a force in WCW as Chronic, but in WWE, They did not live up to what they were in WCW. And that's probably why. Do you think the Sasha versus Bayley will be the WWE's next cinematic match? And because Sasha's facing Bayley, do you think she needs a new finisher? I don't think she needs a new finisher, and I don't think the match should be cinematic. The two of them can have an awesome match without the whole like cinematic era. I think this match will be held off until they're in front of fans again. You don't really need the cinematic matches to put it over. Everybody's asking Mount Rushmore questions. Who's on your Mount Rushmore of tweeners in wrestling history? Jeez. I don't really know. Here we go. Yes. First super chat of the day. Jordan Smith, $10 super chat. What was the hardest wrestling death for you? Mine was Owens because I was at Over the Edge in '99. Mount Rushmore, worst WWE pay-per-views, and will SummerSlam be the first show back with a crowd? Probably yes, it's SummerSlam. It might happen before that, but SummerSlam will be the first major show. Probably Eddie Guerrero's, especially with the Raw after. And I just watched The Dark Side of the Ring about Chris Benoit, and they focused on that. They focused on Eddie's death, and they showed Benoit crying, and I lost it. I can't watch that footage without crying. I can't do it. Eddie's death was just so heartbreaking, especially watching Chavo relive it was. Ugh. I don't cry very often, but man, does that tear at your heart. And Mount Rushmore for worst WWE pay-per-views. Any of the Super Showdowns. That was a terrible event. Over the Limit 2012. That one was awful. That one was main evented by John Laurinaitis. That should tell you enough. ECW December to Dismember. That one was god awful. And WrestleMania 11. There you go. So, Jordan, since you have the first super chat of the day, the first $10 super chat of the day, you, sir, get a wheel spin. And if it's anything like last week, you might win a shirt. Ken, I still have not heard from you on which shirt you want. The link is on the screen there. It's not clickable. I haven't figured out how to do that. But the Teespring store is up. I just uploaded a bunch of new shirts, so you have more options. But here we go. Finally, I get to do an entrance. All right, Jordan. So here's what you do. You let me know what entrance you want me to do, and I will do it. So as soon as you let me know, there you go. All right. Adrian, where is Mount Rushmore? Mount Rushmore is in, I believe, South Dakota. Is it South Dakota or North Dakota? I think it's South Dakota. It's in the U.S., essentially, but it's in South Dakota. It's just, you know, the big rock thing with 4 presidents. Where was I at? Marshall Leonard. Undertaker needs to do more appearances as a biker taker before he retires. I really think he should get one more reign as WWE champion and lose it at Survivor Series. I don't know if I give him the title again, especially just to hotshot it off to somebody else. I don't think the Undertaker needs the championship at this point. I mean, he's been champion like, what, 6 or 7 times? He doesn't really need it at this point. But I think that he should ride off into the sunset at Survivor Series. That part I will agree with you on. All right, Shane McMahon entrance. Cool. I can do that. Not a problem. Let me pull up Shane McMahon's entrance music, and I will get that one going. So I think I have it in my regular music, so I don't have to search YouTube for it, but I'll get back into the comments in a second. Where's the music? For the listens. Here we go. Library songs. Where's Shane Mac? I probably have it. Yeah, I have it. Here comes the money. So here we go. There we go. Right. Here we go. Shane McMahon entrance. I gotta move the chair too. Oh, good. Good. Perfect fit. And the dog parts.
Here comes the money. Here comes the money. Money, money, money. You ain't talking money, then you're talking no matter. Ching, bling, bling, tight pockets. Take a dollar, and it's damn so stop it. Here comes the new kid on the block. Hold on your back tips with the buck stop. See, first of all, I'm checking up on my own. About time I elevated to claim my own throne. Sex in my blood, call it home truth. 4-3, the testosterone. Power and money got me crazy cocky. No longer need you, poppy. I know you're mad, but you can't stop me. And if you wonder how the players in school Germany, I think she smell my cologne.
There we go. Whew. So there you go. Adjust my camera. Whew. Forgot how much work that was. So there you go. All right. Crying out loud. Now I'm gassed. All right. Big Rocker Johnson. How would you book Aleister Black from now till Mania? Give him a freaking storyline. That's what I do. It's one thing. It's nice that he's kicking the faces off of people, but he needs a storyline. Give him something important. He can win all these matches, but it's like at some point, you got to give him something to work with. Anthony Manzano. Oh, there we go. Adrian with a 10-pound super chat. Or 10 euros. I don't know what the symbols are. Greg, who was the better amateur wrestler in college, Angle or Steiner? I went to the same college as Kurt Angle, so I'm kind of biased, aren't I? Kurt Angle. So there you go. All right. Adrian, euros. I thought it was euros. It was like pounds is a different symbol. All right, here we go. Adrian, your spin. Another entrance. There you go. I like this whole entrance thing. I haven't done them in a while, and it's clear that I need to get back to the gym and work on my cardio again. I haven't done it in a while. Yeah, Curtis, I get it completely. I understand. So there you go. Adrian, you get your choice of entrance. Yeah. I was in the middle of reading it. You said, Anthony said, for me as a Hispanic wrestling fan, Eddie Guerrero's death hit me the hardest because if I wrestled, I would have modeled it after Eddie and Ray. Two good people to model it after, absolutely. And Eddie will forever be missed. Still miss him to this day. Staying on topic, Scott Steiner entrance. Okay, I don't have a steel head thing, so I'm gonna do what I can. The Cleaver, Colin Andrew. I did a semester at Clarion. Oh, did you? I didn't know that, brother. Yeah, that's where I got my bachelor's. Huh. What years did you go to? Did I like somehow pass you and didn't know it? All right, yeah, I can do the Scott Steiner entrance. Let me pull up his entrance theme. I might have it on, should have it on Amazon Music. All right, move the chair back. And actually, Alexa, make Man Cave red. There we go. You need like that thing. All right, I know it's on one of the Uncaged albums. Hold on. I don't remember which one. There might be 3. Nope. First one, maybe? Oh, yeah, it is the first one. Okay. So here you go, Adrian. Scott Steiner entrance. Oh, crap. Hold on. I didn't adjust the camera, so I'm going to start over. My bad.
If you hear me.
Alexa, make Man Cave green. Ah, my chair stuck. There we go. Much more, not as physically intense as the Shane McMahon entrance. Strangely enough, because he's a genetic freak. But there you go. Let's see. You're at 0607? Yeah, I would have just missed you. And Matt, I knew you worked at Clarion too. Like you worked there for a little bit. I have no sympathy for you. A Pedialyte. I'm not a kid. I got water right here. I'm good. Greg, with there being a ton of wrestlers who have an MMA background or kickboxing background, do you think the Brawl for All tournament could work today? As long as you don't have the winner go up against an actual fighter. And, you know, they tried the MMA thing. I'll tell you this. They tried the MMA thing in TNA. Like, they tried a main event with Angle and Samoa Joe that was more like an MMA fight than a wrestling match. And the crowd did not care for it. So, these crowds don't come to shows for boxing or MMA. They come for wrestling. So, trying that crossover seems like it's wading into dangerous territory. Could it work? With the right people, possibly it could work. But much like the Brawl for All in '98, it has to be a shoot. You cannot work these matches. It has to be a straight up shoot. That's my opinion. Dan versus Brock, UFC. Who would win? I mean, I'm assuming you mean Severn. I would probably give it to Severn. I feel like he has, or at least he had, the conditioning more so than Brock would. Actually, it was the open exhibition match with Kurt Angle and Jeff Jarrett. Yeah, the Angle Jarrett thing was an open exhibition match, but I was talking about the um, Lockdown 2008, I believe, match between Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle. 42nd Street Matthew. Did you hear Vince McMahon wanted to do another Brawl for All in the original NXT and had to be talked out of it? I have not heard that, but the way the original NXT was, it wouldn't have surprised me. Makes you wonder who would have won. Probably Barrett. He was a bare knuckles champion, so he probably would have still won it anyway. So yeah, there you go. Already an hour into the live stream. Holy crap. I mean, if Pedialyte works, that's fine. I just don't have any. I'm reading back through some of these comments. Man, I missed the Steve Blackman thing. I probably could have done the Steve Blackman, but I don't have nunchucks either. All right, the dog wants to make a appearance because I hear him whining. Come on, Bangers. Make your return. Hi, Bang. Hi, how you doing? Hi, Mommy outside. What? You're crazy. Send a text off to my wife here because she's outside. Big Rocker Johnson. They should do a Rollins and Black feud with both having Colt. I don't think Aleister Black really needs it. Curse Butler, one wrong move with nunchucks and your nuts will suffer. I believe it. I see YouTube fail videos all the time, so I completely understand that. Can I help you, Bangers? Why are you crawling underneath me, Goofy? Bang. Come here. Come here. This side. Anthony Manzano. Greg, by chance, do you know if there's a feud with Vince and Ken Shamrock? Is that why Vince is not allowing him to be in the WWE Hall of Fame? Shamrock said for whatever reason that he was blacklisted. So I don't know what the heat is there. It might have something to do with Shamrock wanting to go back to MMA and then like just straight up not coming back to WWE afterwards. There's a lot of that speculation. Would you get out of here, Goofy? Tank. Adrian with another $10 euro. Shawn versus Triple H Hell in a Cell in 2004. Was it an underrated match? Yes. It seems to get underappreciated due to it lasting 47 minutes. Yeah, it definitely was an underrated match. I mean, it's Shawn Michaels and Triple H. So, I mean, the Hell in a Cell feud between the two of them was fantastic. I mean, the feud in general with them was fantastic, but it ending in Hell in a Cell was such a great way to end it. And then they both got to move on and do their own respective things. All right, so Adrian, you get another spin. Bangers, want to help with the spin? Or are you just sniffing around? Here we go. Entrance. I don't really do the road story anymore, so I'll give you the entrance. Another entrance. The road story is just me doing a Savage impression. I've done that before, so I want to give you another entrance. And it wasn't close enough to the t-shirt for me to want to give you that. So you get to choose another entrance for me to do, Adrian. Whatever you want. But yeah, that Hell in a Cell match was great. I remember watching it. I need to watch it again because just the entire Shawn Michaels and Triple H 2002 to 2004 rivalry, I need to watch all of that. Inject it into my veins, as they say, because it was just so damn good. Probably one of the best feuds of the last 20 years. Easily. In your lifetime, in my lifetime, so this is since 86, DX entrance, staying on topic again. Well, at least I got the green light. I'll answer this, Curtis, and then I will do the DX entrance. Who's the worst WWE champion since I've been alive? Let's see. You got Hogan, Savage, Hogan again, Warrior, Hogan, or no, Warrior, Slaughter, Hogan, Taker, Hogan, vacated, Flair, Savage, Flair, Brett, Yokozuna, Hogan, Yokozuna, Brett, Backlund, as far as WWF champion since I've been alive, could be up for debate. Because his first reign wasn't in my lifetime. Then Diesel, probably, yeah, it might be Diesel. Because Diesel, I like Kevin Nash, don't get me wrong. It might be Diesel, though, because his era of being WWE champion was among the worst years in company history. So I would probably say Diesel. I would even put Jinder Mahal's above Diesel. Like that is how confident I am in that answer. And a lot of people didn't care for Jinder Mahal as champion. A lot of people didn't care for Miz as champion initially. I would have to give it to Diesel. I really would. Right, DX entrance. Bing, you're going to have to move. Because Daddy's got to do full-blown DX entrance. Come on, Bingers. Go outside. Come on. I know. You're going to hate me. Love you, though. All right, DX entrance. Ooh, I think on the new Uncaged album, or one of the new ones, they have like the 2019 DX. So, here we go. So, Uncaged album. Gotta adjust the camera again. Here we go. You are fine, Bangers. It's either Uncaged 12 or 11. I feel like it's 11. Could be wrong, but I don't think I am. No, I am wrong. I think it was 10. My bad. I'm talking to myself. Don't worry about me. There we go. All right, so here we go. D Generation X.
Are you ready? Hey, think you can tell us what to do? You think you can tell us what to wear? You think that you're better? Well, you better get ready. Bow to the masters. You could tell me what to do. Who you're talking to?
Xbox 3, just for a heck. There you go. All right. uh, 42nd Street Matthew. I just read that a former XFL staffer said the league will not be coming back. You know, it's very disappointing. It is very disappointing because I actually like the XFL this time around. It was presented like a legitimate league and not a joke. I don't think Vince will be trying it again. Unless he's like 96 and still alive and be like, oh, damn it, the XFL needs to come back. This is such good shit. But I doubt it. I really do. So, yeah, it's sad about the XFL because I'm a big football fan as it is. The games that I watched for the XFL were entertaining, and I like some of the rules that they had, like the whole after a touchdown you can get 1, 2, or 3 points afterwards. I like that. I thought it was cool, and it could change the momentum of a game easily. I like that. Yeah, is Rift in the chat room? I don't see him. I haven't seen him in the chat room since I came back and started doing these again. Big Rocker Johnson, should Gargano and Ciampa end in Hell in a Cell? Technically, they just ended it on NXT. That was supposed to be the last time they ever fought each other. So I think Gargano and Ciampa is done. So if they do it again, fine. Do it at Hell in a Cell. But do it when both guys are on the main roster, but I doubt that's ever going to happen. All right, Ken's going to send in a super chat of his own. Sounds good to me. Did I send this link off to everybody? Don't remember if it did. Yeah, send it to the... Yep. Okay, just checking. Anthony, yeah. Funny thing is, wrestling fans give credit to Brock Lesnar for being the first hybrid athlete to do MMA and pro wrestling, but Dan Severn and Ken Shamrock did it first. Why fans do not give them credit? Because it's more recent. Realistically. I mean, Severn was killing it in both. Shamrock just had to do WWE full time. But Shamrock was good at it too. Don't get me wrong. Shamrock knew what he was doing. And yeah, he's in Impact Wrestling right now. I think he's still with Impact. Last I checked. But even as I don't want to say as old as he looks, but he does look, he's looking his age now. But Shamrock can still go, so good on him. Masked Ninja, WWE employee reportedly informed of positive coronavirus test in the company. Well, is that somebody who works the shows, or is that somebody who works in corporate? Because that would be a difference as far as talent goes. Oh, he is still in Impact. Okay, I thought he was, because I know he did a match with like Joey Ryan a few months ago, and that's right, because Shamrock was doing like the Hall of Fame thing, and then Sami Callihan attacked him. I did see that. Who will do better on the main roster, Ciampa or Gargano? I don't think Ciampa is ever going to the main roster, and he's said as much. So if Gargano goes up, then Gargano. So there's your answer. Greg, if you had a chance to talk to Triple H and book the debut of Killer Kross on NXT, how would you do it? Well, if I had the chance to talk to Triple H, hopefully I'd have a job there. How would I book the debut of Killer Kross? I'm not really sure. The little subtleties of him and Killer Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux were in the car right after the Gargano Ciampa match on NXT. Ken with $5 super chat. I don't know if you remember, but last week the Oriental Cherry Mark won a shirt. How would you reach my address? You've sent it to me before, Ken. You've won a shirt before. Send me your stuff on Facebook. Go to the Teespring store and let me know what shirt you want. That's all you have to do, and what size also. I might still have your address from last time, but yeah, go on the Teespring store. I got loads of shirts up there now. It's not just limited to 4. I think I got like 12 up there at least. So whichever. Yeah, we were talking about the XFL being canceled. Yep, Teespring store. The link is right on the screen. Teespring.com/store/Greg Cherry brand. All one word. Adrian, should Steve Blackman have gotten a run with the WWE title back in the day? He was a legit badass and would have been a credible champ. I love Steve Blackman. I would absolutely support Steve Blackman being WWE champion. He was such a badass. The hardcore division was great for him. I definitely thought he had all the tools to be a WWF champion. I would have been perfectly fine with it. Oh, you moved into a different address. Okay. You can send that to me then. If I don't have your actual address, find me on Facebook, send me a Facebook message. Let me know what shirt you want, size, your address, all that stuff. I like Steve Blackman, but anyone see Haku as the WWF champion? If it was a shoot, Haku would have been WWF champion. Jeff and I have talked about this before. It's like, even Haku now would not want to mess with him. If he like passed away from something, I would want to check before he's dead before messing with him. And then even then, I wouldn't want to mess with him because Haku's a scary dude. Like he legit terrified me as a kid. It's like I would not want to ever mess with Haku. Probably the toughest guy wrestling's ever had. Chris Butler, Steve Blackman, the charisma of a dead frog. Maybe Steve Blackman wasn't charismatic, but he could kick your ass. That's all I wanted out of him. He didn't need to cut promos or anything. As long as he kicked somebody's ass, that's all he needed. Watch his entire 2000 run in the hardcore division. Steve Blackman is a badass. Chris Butler, Haku is deadly, but one of the nicest guys ever. I can believe that. I would never want to piss Haku off, ever. I would be completely respectful, and if I stepped out of line, I would move countries. Because I would not want to be on Haku's bad side. Ever. Haku makes the Wild Samoans look like the Rock and Roll Express. Back in the day or now? Do I need to sign up first on the Teespring website, champ? No, you shouldn't have to. You should just be able to look at the shirts. Just pick what shirt you want and message me the details. I still have to get Jeff's out to him, too. I was waiting until both of you had your stuff in so I could do that. Rank. Mr. Perfect, Jake the Snake, and Rick Rude. What are we ranking on? Is it wrestling ability? Is it overall? Is it who cut the best promos? Because if we're talking about who cut the best promos, I'm going to put Jake first. They're all great talkers, but I would put Jake first. And then probably Rude, and then probably Perfect. But they're all really close. Thank you. I'm glad you like the new shirts. I spent Thursday designing about 4 or 5 of them. So I was really excited about that. I may have to take one of them down because I don't like the way it turned out. But I wanted to get it up. I may have to redesign one of them. I'm not answering that, Adrian. Anthony Manzano. Greg, are you excited for the stable with Hio de Fantasma, Joaquin Wilde, and Raul Mendoza on NXT? I guess we'll see. We'll see what they bring. I don't really know what to get excited about yet, but if they provide excitement on NXT, then so be it. I don't want to go in all excited and not know what to expect and then be let down. So I'll just say that we'll see what we see. Overall, as far as wrestling ability, I would probably give it to Mr. Perfect. And then probably Jake the Snake and then Rick Rude in that order. Because Jake was a great wrestler and the best talker out of the 3. Just let me know on Facebook, Ken. I mean, if you're going to straight up buy a shirt, you can buy a shirt and do all you want. But for the shirt you win, you don't have to pay for it. Like, that's part of the deal. But if you want to buy a shirt on your own, that's totally up to you. Not going to force you into anything. Holiday Evolution. Should the WWE do more with Shelton Benjamin? I think they should. it's funny. I was on my way to get breakfast for my wife and I this morning, and the first song that came up on my playlist was Shelton Benjamin's "Ain't No Stopping Me Now," and I was like, man, if they gave him this theme back and actually like gave him somewhat of a decent push, Shelton Benjamin was one of the best athletes on the WWE roster, bar none. How he never rose to the ranks of anything more than a mid card champion. I'm telling you what, if Shelton Benjamin would have been able to cut decent promos, he would have been a world champion long before Kofi ever was, my opinion. Or at least he should have been. In fact, he still should have been. Shelton Benjamin's fantastic. I love Shelton. I knew what you meant, Adrian. I still wasn't going to answer. Do you think WWE would ever bring back Charlie Haas and then have him tag with Shelton Benjamin? The world's greatest tag team would be cool. I mean, they just brought back Miz and Morrison as a tag team, and they're the tag team champions. So why not throw another Ruthless Aggression tag team in there? As long as Charlie Haas can still go, bring back the world's greatest tag team. Why not? Put them in NXT. NXT would use them good. Shelton doesn't have promo skills, but neither did Jinder nor Khali. Mahal was bland and Khali is awful. Yeah, and Benjamin should have been world champion. I agree. One word, Triple H. I believe that's the reason why he never rose past the mid card. Well, that's not really one word. Triple H is technically two. I would like to see Charlie Haas Layfield come back. I enjoyed Charlie Haas's imitating gimmick back in 2008. I thought it was cool. I thought he did a good job with it, and it was entertaining. But then he disappeared from the company. I was like, damn it. It was fun. It was fun with the reminiscing stuff. I really liked it, and he did a good job. Yeah, Adrian says the same thing. It was a great gimmick because he like fully enveloped himself in that. He did Beth Phoenix. He did Hogan and Bret Hart and Mr. Perfect for that like vignette. There's Carlito and JBL and John Cena. He did so many, and he was Stone Cold. He could have done so much more with it, and like the creative options were endless. But I don't know if it was like a contract dispute, if they just stopped using him. But man, that gimmick was good for him. It was so good. When do I see the Iconics coming back? I don't know. Maybe I don't know if they're like stuck in Australia or what the deal is why they haven't been used on TV. But bring back the Iconics. They were entertaining beyond belief. Always entertaining. Anthony Manzano, Greg, what do you think happened with the Colognes? Do you think Vince is waiting to sign Carlito before bringing them back on TV? Are the Colognes still there? Are they still there? I thought this like 2 years ago, and then one of them showed up in the Greatest Royal Rumble. I was like, I didn't even know they were still employed. But maybe. I don't know why Carlito would want to come back. Like, I don't know what he would do. Hopefully not just collect a paycheck. I doubt he would want to do that. Curtis Butler, what's your opinion on New Jack? Don't ever want to be around him again. That's my opinion. He walked behind me at an indie show. I'm just glad I didn't decide I wanted to pop off to him that day, or I was having a bad day or something, because I probably wouldn't be having this conversation with you. But he is crazy. I just don't want to be around him. Let's see. Ken Shamrock should have been WWE champion. Why did he not win the title, and what was the reason? Well, he had a WWE championship match against Shawn Michaels in '97, but I guess they never saw him as any more than a mid-card champion. When you have Stone Cold and The Rock there, and Mankind and Undertaker and Triple H, it was kind of hard to break through the main event scene back then. Have the Revival and Shawn Spears as a three-man group. That might be interesting. Have Spears lead that group. Well, Tully's the manager, but have Spears be a part of it. Will Tully and Tessa come to WWE to feud with Rick and Charlotte? Well, they're in two different companies, aren't they? Tully's with AEW with Spears, and Tessa's the Impact World Champion. So, I mean, that would be cool to have like a little four horsemen battle with the daughters. That'd be cool. I mean, Tessa and Charlotte would be a fantastic match. But I think it's funny that Tessa said she would rather feud with Sasha Banks. I get it. Do you think Dana Brooke needs a big push? I like Dana Brooke. She's improved a lot. From what she was when she first came to the main roster, Dana Brooke has definitely improved. And she's had the look, she's athletic, and she's definitely worked hard to where she's gotten. So I would like to see Dana Brooke get, I don't know if I want to see her get a title run necessarily. Maybe not on SmackDown, maybe on Raw. But I think she has, or send her back to NXT. Like she could hang with people in NXT. It'd be interesting. Let's see. Greg, in your opinion, if Shamrock came back to WWE, who would win in a match? Him or Lesnar? Lesnar. What feud would you like to see him versus Aleister Black? I don't know if Shamrock would ever come back to WWE to feud with anybody. Lesnar would destroy him. Let's be honest. I really don't know who you would put him up against. I don't know if I want to see Shamrock back in a WWE ring. Maybe in the Hall of Fame, but not back in a ring. Which means he'd work Saudi shows. Who wins the TNT tournament from Big Rock or Johnson? All right, see you later, Adrian. Who wins the TNT tournament? I said it would be Lance Archer defeating Cody in the finals. I don't know if I said that on the review last week. I think I said that on the review last week. I think Archer goes over Cody in the finals. Curtis Butler, only Arn should be with the Revival. I'm being arrogant about this too. Arn could be with the Revival. I don't see a problem with that whatsoever. Report Card Radio. Greg, what's going on, dude? Can we get a little trivia going today? Are you relaxing? How did your title defense go? Are you talking about the Mark World Order podcast? That one's out. Go follow Mark World Order wherever you can get podcasts, and you can listen to that one. But I also recorded a defense for Wrestling Trivia Challenge, which is coming exclusively to my YouTube channel. Subscribe to it, youtube.com/GregCherryBrand. Wrestling Trivia Challenge is coming back on Friday. So keep a lookout for that. Who's going to be bigger, Lance or Brody? Depends when Brody gets to be in the ring. Right now he's doing a Vince McMahon ripoff gimmick, which that might get old quick, but who knows. Is Alexa Bliss better as a heel or a face? She hasn't been face long enough for me to determine, but if I was to determine from what I've gotten, better as a heel. Let's see. Arn Anderson as a manager of the Revival equals money. Yeah, that would be good. Anthony, or Curtis Butler, what is your opinion of WrestleMania 23? Had a couple decent matches. I enjoyed watching Kennedy win Money in the Bank, which ultimately ended up being nothing because I was a huge Mr. Kennedy fan at the time. Other than that, Shawn and Cena was good. Taker and Batista was good. The hair match between Lashley and Umaga was decent. Other than that, not really memorable. Anthony, Greg, let's say ECW lasted up until this point and we still have Dean Ambrose in WWE. Do you think he would have been successful as ECW champion? Yes. I figure Moxley probably would have been a star in ECW with his style and the ability to cut promos. Heyman would have loved him in ECW. Absolutely would have loved him. Who did Mankind face in the opening round of the WWF Championship Tournament, and who introduced his opponent for Survivor Series '98? Vince McMahon introduced his opponent, which was Dwayne Gill. I just watched the '98 Survivor Series like a month or two ago. It might have been longer ago than that, but no, it was a couple of years. Jermaine Presley, how would you fix the Raw and SmackDown tag team division? I like the SmackDown tag team division, quite frankly. I mean, you got the New Day, you got the Usos, you got Miz and Morrison, you got a couple others, heavy machineries in there. You know, Ziggler and Rhodes. SmackDown tag team division's solid. I wouldn't fix anything about it. Raw definitely needs some tag teams because, I mean, when you have so many makeshift teams as champion for Raw, it shows how weak your tag team division is. So Raw definitely needs an influx of tag teams. And SmackDown just got freaking Forgotten Sons, too, who beat the Lucha House Party. So, yeah, Raw definitely needs an influx of tag teams. Let's see. Marshall Leonard, AEW is doing what WCW and ECW and TNA should have done. That's push new talent and not give up in 30 seconds. Yeah. Are you excited for Moxley and Hager? And how would you book the ending? Just a straight up match and have Moxley win. Depends on how much you want to protect Jake Hager. But you don't want him as champion right now because Jericho wouldn't care for that. Because Jericho is Le Champion after all. Would you agree that the Jericho segment with Vanguard 1 was the funniest segment of this year so far? It was definitely entertaining. I did love it. Matt Hardy and Chris Jericho are absolute gold together. So the Elite Deletion should be entertaining. Report Card Radio, which '98 Survivor Series tournament match ended in a double countout? I believe that was X-Pac and William Regal, or Steven Regal. Yeah, he was Steven Regal at the time. The real man's man. Because Austin gets a bye? Austin gets a bye? Because I think Kane and Undertaker faced The Rock. Yeah, Taker beat Kane. Because The Rock beat The Undertaker in the semis. Holiday Evolution. Do you think AJ Lee could make a comeback? Possibly. I think she'd have a lot better matches with the roster of talent now than she did when she left. Because she never got to face the Sasha Bankses, basically any of the four horsewomen. Never got the opportunity to face them because they came up shortly after she left. So AJ Lee did leave a hole in the Divas division at the time, but the horsewomen cleared that hole right up. How do you get Skype to work without paying to talk to people and getting it to work? Because I would like to be on Wrestling Trivia Challenge this season if you would teach me how to run Skype. You don't have to pay to talk to people on Skype. It's just like a video chat service. You don't have to pay anything. Just have to sign up for it and have the opportunity to just have a webcam and all that stuff. You don't have to pay for Skype. I've never had to pay for Skype. What pay-per-view did Austin face Dude Love? Over the Edge was one of them. He faced him twice. It was at, what was the pay-per-view right after WrestleMania 14? Unforgiven. Right? I'm pretty sure. Unforgiven in Your House. Greg, what would have been your reaction if WWE decided to do an Insane Asylum gimmick with Dean Ambrose and AJ Lee? It would have been a weird pairing, that's for sure. I feel like Nikki Cross would have probably been better suited for that. Or really any of Sanity. Um, yeah, the Insane Asylum gimmick. I don't know if they've ever done anything like that. I don't know if anything like that would ever get over. I guess it really depends on the character. Greg, in my opinion, I think Sanity would have been more successful with Dean as the head of the stable instead of Eric Young. Do you agree? Um, they had relative success in NXT. On the main roster, they didn't do a damn thing. Like, nobody cared when they came to the main roster. Um, Big Rocker Johnson, which is going to happen first? Jericho face turn or Omega heel turn? Probably an Omega heel turn would be my guess. Greg, what pay-per-view did Scott Steiner turn his back on Rick? Was that Super Bowl 8? I think it was Super Bowl. It was Super Bowl in '98, I'm pretty sure. Yep, I thought so. So yeah. So if you haven't had the opportunity yet, you notice, I don't know if any of you noticed, but the links on my screen are a little bit different, and let me explain why. I've moved away from the PA Sensation thing for my social media handles, and I'm now exclusively the Greg Cherry brand. So if you haven't yet, go to my Instagram at Greg Cherry Brand, all one word. Facebook.com/Greg Cherry Brand. That's my Facebook page it's my Facebook fan page. Go check that out. YouTube.com/Greg Cherry Brand is the exclusive new home of Wrestling Trivia Challenge plus various other content, which will be coming in the coming weeks. Of course, Wrestling Trivia Challenge returns this Friday with a live premiere. So check that out. I will be in the comments. Check it out. I will try and have the NotiQ people plug that as much as I possibly can. And then teespring.com/stores/Greg Cherry Brand for all the shirts I have up there. Way more options than I had on Pro Wrestling Tees. And I'm going to try and come up with even more than that because I love the creative process of designing shirts. So check those out. And there you go. And that's all I got to say about that. Anthony Manzano, Greg, that's what I'm saying. If they called up Sanity at the same time they turned Dean heel, I think they would have been more successful. Maybe. Report Card Radio. Kane versus Shane McMahon took place at what pay-per-view and what match and what year? 2003, it took place at two different pay-per-views. Unforgiven 2003 in a Last Man Standing match, and Survivor Series 2003 in an ambulance match. So they fought each other twice that year. Dean with Sanity probably would have been interesting, him leading a heel stable that wasn't the Shield. I don't know, I still feel it would have been a little bit out of place. It might have worked, but I'm having a hard time seeing the connection. What is the worst singing, rapping performance you have ever heard by a wrestler? Vince McMahon's Stand Back, AWA's Wrestle Rock Rumble. Oh, that's legendary. Come on. And anything by Jimmy Hart. Oh, don't hate on Jimmy Hart. What about Jillian Hall? Anybody forget about that gimmick? Or you might have tried to. Marshall Leonard, will WWE Hall of Fame induction ceremony happen SummerSlam weekend? Probably if they have shows back then, they'll probably want to do it at a big show. Chris Butler, Ken, you've never lived until you hear Terry Funk sing. Oh boy. Still trying to hydrate from my Shane McMahon entrance and my DX entrance earlier. Which I'm so glad. I'm so glad the entrances made a comeback for this. Okay, guys, we got about 20 minutes left. Yes, Jillian Hall was horrible. So here's your opportunity. If you want a spin on the wheel, $10 super chat. If you do more than $10, if you do $20, you get 2 spins. If you do $30, you get 3 spins. Any multiple 10. I know Ken Adrian was trying to talk you into doing 100, which would have been cool. You would have got 10 spins. But you have to be wary of this wedge right here, the bankrupt wedge, because that would have wiped out everything you had prior. Let's see. What about Kurt Angle's I Don't Suck? That song. The WWE Originals album showed how many superstars could not sing. Report Card Radio. Okay, Greg, let's do recent trivia. What was the tag team title match at WrestleMania 28 in the pre-show? That would be the Usos versus the Colognes, Epico and Primo, versus, who the frick were they facing? I was there and I can't remember. It was a triple threat match. It was the Usos, it was the Colognes, and who was the other team? Well, it wasn't Kofi and Evan, was it? No, because Kofi was on the main show. And thanks, Marshall. I do appreciate that. Tyson Kidd and Justin Gabriel was the other one. I knew it was like some throw together team. And no, I was not in the way of the trees, so fortunately I got to see the show without the trees messing with me. Big Rocker Johnson, are you a fan of wrestlers blading? If they bleed when the circumstances right and tells a better story, then that's the way they're supposed to do it. But I haven't seen a wrestler blade in a damn long time. Will Tyson Kidd return? Probably not. He's got a cushy little job as a producer, so I don't see him returning anytime soon. Chris Butler said, I need some cherry juice. I actually had some. Cherry juice is actually really good. And one of my favorite kinds of juices, actually. I need to get some more. But with all this coronavirus stuff, everything's sold out everywhere. It drives me nuts. All right, so we got, excuse me, we got about 15 minutes left in the show. Yeah, 15 minutes left in the show. So really, one of your last chances to get a spin from the Wheel of Tencent. We have had 3 entrances today, so finally back on the entrance train. After last week, we got a couple T-shirt spins. Ken, I'm looking forward to your Facebook message to tell me what shirt you want, or you can just tell me right here and send me the address. Just send me the Facebook message. I don't want you to put your address in the chat. Greg Anxious, do you know if WWE has announced a rescheduled date for the TakeOver event? It's supposed to happen during WrestleMania weekend this year. Probably not till there's an audience again, so that's really undetermined. I don't think they've announced a date. Big Rocker Johnson, which Royal Rumble would you rebook to make it more enjoyable? 2015. That was one of the most god awful booked Royal Rumbles ever. Sorry, Jamie Noble, but it was garbage. You do not eliminate Daniel Bryan in the middle of the Royal Rumble with as much star power as he had to win to make it seem, oh man, it's the fans turning on the Rumble before even half of the competitors were in the match was bad. I was at 2014 and we booed as soon as Mysterio was 30 because everybody thought I knew Daniel Bryan wasn't coming out 30, but a lot of people did. And when he didn't come out, everybody turned on the match. But when Daniel Bryan's in the match and you eliminate him that early and they turn on the match halfway through, that's a problem. 2015, probably one of the worst Royal Rumbles since 95. Big Rocker Johnson, how would you book the 95 Rumble? Well, first of all, I would have given less time to the other matches and made the Rumble actually go an hour. So Shawn Michaels could truly have the number one all the way glory. If someone paid $100, I'd go on YouTube on the video and sing HBK's theme. Tell you what, if somebody sends a $100 super chat, not only will I sing HBK's theme, I will dance and do the entrance to HBK's theme along with whatever pops up on here. So if anybody donates $100 in the next 10 minutes in one super chat, there you go. And I will go like straight up 1995 Shawn Michaels and like get the jacket and all that stuff. So there you go. If anybody does that, I'll get like a jacket and stuff and do full-blown Shawn Michaels entrance. I won't even care. I will be happy. So, ball's in your court now, guys. But you can still send $10 super chat and try and win it on here. But 100, I'll guarantee it, even if entrance doesn't pop up here. So there you go. Maybe I should make that thing. Be like, $100, you get a guaranteed entrance, and then whatever you get on here. But people probably won't want to drop $100 on here. What episode on Vice are you still looking forward to? Did they come up with the Owen Hart one yet? I don't know what's on the docket for like what's up next on the Dark Side of the Ring. Let me look. Dark Side of the Ring schedule. Episodes. Oh, the Owen Hart one's coming out in May. Assassination Dino Bravo. Oof. Jeff told me the story and it sounded pretty gruesome. I think I got one to stump Greg. Greg, SummerSlam 2004. Who competed for the Intercontinental title? It was Edge defending against Chris Jericho and Batista. Yeah, Dino Bravo is coming up. That would be an interesting one. I really should watch the other ones. I can't rewatch the Benoit one. That was like, heart-wrenching. All-time Elimination Chamber and Money in the Bank match. Best Elimination Chamber, I still say, is the first one. I mean, the Shawn Michaels victory in the Elimination Chamber still holds up to this day. That chamber match was amazing. Best Money in the Bank ladder match, I would say might be the one that Van Dam won. Because the first one was really damn good. The second one was incredible. I'm trying to think of all the Money in the Bank matches that have happened since. But yeah, that one still holds up from WrestleMania 22. You didn't think I'd get that one, Report Card Radio, did you? Especially as quick as I got it. There's a reason I've been wrestling trivia champion for 2 years, brother. Orton versus Benoit is underrated and the best SummerSlam main event since SummerSlam 2002. Honestly, I would say that Orton Benoit was a better main event than SummerSlam 2002. Report Card Radio got a couple Owen Hart questions. Name every single Owen Hart WrestleMania match. WrestleMania 8, he fought Skinner. WrestleMania 10, he fought Brett. 11, he teamed with Yokozuna to face the Smoking Guns. 12, he was in a 6-man tag. It was him, Bulldog, and Vader against Yokozuna, Ahmed Johnson, and Jake the Snake. WrestleMania 13, it was him and the Bulldog against Vader and Mankind for the tag titles. 14, it was him versus Triple H for the European title. 15, I believe he was competing for the tag team titles with Jeff Jarrett. Who were the tag team champions in '99? They didn't win. But who were the tag team champions in '99? I don't remember. I know Owen and Jarrett fought for the tag team titles in '99, but I cannot remember for the life of me who were the tag champs. Because freaking Shamrock and Bossman had them, but they didn't. But Bossman was busy. Shamrock had another match. Or maybe Shamrock didn't have another match, but Bossman was busy with Taker. Yeah. D'Lo and Test. Really? 14, he faced Triple H. 15, I know he teamed with Jarrett. I swear that match was for the tag team titles. They may have been the champions. Was it D'Lo Brown and Test? No, it couldn't have been. Because Test was with the corporation. No, it wasn't them. It was D'Lo and Test. What a weird-ass team. 13, he was teaming with the Bulldog to face Vader and Mankind. Marshall Aaron, name all HBK's WrestleMania matches in order from the first to the last. The Battle Royal, okay. Okay. I forgot about the Battle Royal. I haven't watched WrestleMania 15 in a long time, so I clearly didn't remember that one. I guess they were the champs. Okay. HBK's WrestleMania matches in order. They fought what? The Twin Towers in '89. What's up, Curtis? I have a hard time placing his rocker matches. I'm just going to start with the singles matches. In '92, he faced Tito, El Matador. '93, he faced Tatanka. '94, he faced Razor. '95, he faced Diesel. '96, WrestleMania 12, he fought Brett for the title. 13, he was just in commentary. 14, he faced Austin. Didn't wrestle at Mania until 19, where he faced Chris Jericho. 20, he was in the main event against Triple H and Chris Benoit. 21, he faced Angle. 22, he faced Vince. 23, he faced Cena. 24, he faced Flair. 25 and 26, he faced The Undertaker. There you go. Orient Express. I knew the Orient Express were in there. I think, was that 6 or was that 7? Anyway, last chance for a super chat. Because I'm done here in about 2 minutes. So, Haku and Barbarian. Okay. Gotcha. So, like I said, the Rockers matches. I haven't watched WrestleMania 7 the whole way through either, so that might need to be another one. I really need to watch the first few WrestleManias because I think 8 and after I've watched them all the whole way through. But the first, I just watched 4 the whole way through for the first time a month or 2 ago. So there you go. Who did Owen Hart defeat for the European title, and who did he defeat for each Intercontinental title win? European title, he beat Triple H. Technically, he defeated Goldust, dressed up as Triple H, but Slaughter awarded him the title anyway. And for the Intercontinental title, he... I'm trying to decide if I want to do the stream next Saturday or Sunday. I'll let you know. Easter, I will not be doing the live stream, unfortunately. Each Intercontinental title win. Who did he win the Intercontinental title from? In 97. He would have beat Rocky Maivia in 97. And then he beat Rocky Maivia for the first one. And then he won it again because Austin had to forfeit it. Was it Shamrock? No, it wasn't Shamrock. I'll take the hint, Report Card Radio. It might have been Mark Marrow. Because I know Rocky Maivia was the first one, because Rocky was champion of WrestleMania 13. Yeah, it was a tournament final. I knew it was a tournament final. Was it Mark Marrow? It might have been. That's right, he beat Farouk, because it was at freaking... yeah, it was Farouk. Because it was at the In Your House pay-per-view. The one with the first Hell in a Cell. Yep. Bad Blood. That's what it was. All right, guys. Jordan Smith, is there anybody besides Benoit that will never go into the Hall of Fame? I don't know. We'll see. So, that being said, follow me on Instagram at Greg Cherry Brand. Follow my YouTube page for the next several episodes, hopefully, of Wrestling Trivia Challenge. The first one is coming to you this Friday for a live watch along at 8 o'clock Eastern. Go to my Teespring store, teespring.com/stores/Greg Cherry Brand. Go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/Greg Cherry Brand. And that's it. Thank you for all the super chats. Report Card Radio on Instagram. It's right there on the screen. Right there. At Greg Cherry Brand. All one word. Greg Cherry Brand for everything. I decided to unify everything because I was like PA Sensation for one thing, Penseng Gaming on Twitch, something else for YouTube. It's like, okay, just shut up. Everything is Greg Cherry Brand. My Instagram, my Facebook, my YouTube, my Twitch. All of it is Greg Cherry Brand now. It's all unified, finally. So it's all one thing. It's all less confusing. So Greg Cherry Brand for that, my Teespring store, and all that stuff. So go find me on there. Talk to me on there. Can get me your information for the shirts. And I will see you guys next week. And I'll see you Friday on my YouTube channel for the return of Wrestling Trivia Challenge. See you guys.